Let's talk the cut. Subscribe and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Well, good evening, everybody. This is the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club. And surprise, I have guest cutlers with me, my younger cousins, Stephen and Sloan. And today is May 7th, and it's already Tuesday. And I always have fun with these guys, and they'll get the chance to introduce themselves. So this is not just the Let's Talk to Cutler, but this evening it is the Let's Talk to Cutlers, because you guys really are cutlers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll talk about all the stuff that we have in common. But just in case somebody is tuning in for the very first time, we want to make sure that you understand this channel is about inspiration, it's about motivation, and it's about challenging ourselves to show up and be the best version of ourselves that we possibly can. Of course, we're going to have just an unscripted conversation. So do me a favor, as you are tuning in, please tell someone else, come on and let's talk to Cutler, because Cutler has younger Cutlers on with him tonight. And you listen, I'm telling you all, what comes up comes out. This is unscripted, so I don't know what they're going to say. Make sure that you go and tell someone to come on, let's talk to Cutler. And if this is your first time, go ahead and subscribe. Click on the once you subscribe, click on the notification button. It's either down there, up there, or over there somewhere, and it lets you know whenever we've gone live and whenever I've uploaded new content, that sort of thing. Now, I'm going to let my co-hosts introduce themselves, and then I'll come back in just a moment, and I'll acknowledge the LTTC VIPs. The LTTC VIPs are the Let's Talk to Cutler very important people. But of course, everybody's a very important person. So, but that's just the way to challenge people to get into the chat room first. So we see you coming in. Come on, bring something to drink, bring snacks. If you brought that stuff, bring enough for everybody. We'll get snacks after the broadcast is over. Yeah. So we don't tell them where we're going. Yeah. But anyway, let me go ahead and have them introduce themselves. So at least tell them your name and tell them how old you are. Tell them anything you want to tell them about yourself. Go ahead.
My name is Stephen, and I'm 13 actually now.
Oh, you are 13 now. That's right. How does it feel to be a teenager?
It feels so much more different.
so much more different. Like different how?
Like I'm in charge of stuff now. I don't know, it just feels like that.
You're in charge of stuff. All right. So let's come over here to our other co-host. Tell me your name and your age and whatever you want to say about yourself.
My name is Sloan. I'm 8 years old, and my birthday is August 19th, born 2015.
Your birthday is coming up. Your birthday is coming up. I remember both of your birthdays. I remember both of your birthdays. So Stephen and Sloan. And if you get a chance and you're in the chat, please say a special hi to Stephen and Sloan. They are my co-hosts, and you guys have seen them. Those who have been with me for the long haul, you've probably seen them 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5 times on this broadcast. Just growing up, they're my younger cousins, but they're more like nephews. So I enjoy spending a lot of time with them. I hope that you guys enjoy spending time with me.
Yes.
Good. Okay. See, I'll pay them later. But it's great to see you both again, Stephen and Sloan. See, so they remember you all. They remember you all. They are. See, they're speaking to you all. So good. And you get a chance to speak back to them. But this evening, I asked Stephen and I asked Sloan if they could come up with topics to talk about. What would they want to chit chat about? So when I asked Stephen, he said he wanted to talk about home life. And well, first he said he wants to talk about something that makes sense. And then I said, well, what would make sense? And so he said home life. So what do you mean by home life? You talk about home life.
Like, so basically I meant by that was like having somebody that's like a role model in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a mom or dad, because I know some people don't always have that.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people that don't like that.
Okay, so I love the fact that they're very smart, they're very bright, and they're very balanced. So they're scholars, they're athletes, have great home training, so they have this physical balance, this education balance, this spiritual balance, all of that kind of stuff. So, but then I asked Sloan if he had a chance to come up with a topic, what would we talk about? And he said it's okay if people like different things. So, if you had to talk about people liking different things, what would you have to say? What would you say to people when you say it's okay to like different things? What were you thinking about?
I was like, I was thinking of like some person likes so let's say some person likes sushi,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other person comes over and say, no, I do not like sushi, it's disgusting. But all you could say was, oh, do you like sushi? I don't like sushi, but that's okay for you to eat it, sushi.
Well, now these are great topics. These are great topics, and I may have to dive into these one day because I like the fact that you realize that people have different home lives and have different surroundings and different family structures, and everybody's family doesn't always look the same. So people's home lives can be different, and you don't have to make fun of different people. You don't have to make fun of people because their home life is different than yours. You just have to learn how to accept it and handle that, right? And I love your topic as well because it just means in general people don't have to like the same thing. Just because we don't like the same thing, that doesn't make me better than you or you better than me, right? We just like different things. So they're all saying hello. You see that? Who was the last person who said hi?
Andy.
Yeah.
But to also touch on his topic,
Mhm.
he said like sushi, right? But I was thinking like people can like different things.
Mhm.
I was thinking like religion. Like people are Christian. I know this one girl, she's like Catholic,
Mhm.
and she can only eat like fish on. She has to eat fish throughout the week, and on Friday she can have chicken or something like that.
Mhm.
She can have chicken during the week. And I know they have like different churches than us. Like, see, our church, it's like a church where it's way more modern,
Mhm.
like than my grandpa's church, which is like.
So your church is more diverse because I've been to church with you all.
Yes.
So you all have different ethnicities and races at your church, as opposed to some other churches that are more what we say traditional. And because they're more traditional, it doesn't make them better.
No.
It just means that we're all different, right?
Yes.
So do you adjust to the differences easily? So when you go home and or back to Papa's home and you spend time there at that church, is it easy for you to make that adjustment to a church that's different?
Actually, no, not really, because I'm used to having, well, an hour-long church, not a 3-hour-long church.
Okay.
And also, they talk about stuff that is directed toward the grown-ups, something they would more understand
Okay.
than a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old. So, like, when we go to his church, I'm kind of just lost listening to people sing.
Oh, because it sounds like they talk more to older people than your church, because
Yes.
your church has young
like
people's
my
church.
service. So when I go to my service, they're talking at me, to
Okay.
me, and I understand the topic they're talking about because they're talking in like in our tone, not our tone,
But your age
yeah,
level.
our age level.
Well, let me ask Sloan. Sloan, what about you? When let's say when you go back home or go to Papa's church, is it easy for you to make the change, or do you kind of feel lost as well?
I kind of feel lost. I'm not gonna lie. I usually end up playing because I usually end up getting bored from them talking or singing.
Okay, so that's interesting, you all. So I think one of the lessons that one of our takeaways is that whenever we have young people or people who are in different spaces than we are, we need to be more, I think the word is inclusive. We need to strive to include them. So really, I think that's something to take back to wherever we are and if we are in charge of settings. But before we keep on going to these topics, by the way, these are great topics. I'm going to take them because I think we can learn a lot from people who just like who don't like the same thing that we like. It means that we don't have to look down on them. We don't have to frown on them. We can just appreciate the fact that we're all different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the same true about home life. Sometimes I grew up. I think I shared this with you all. I grew up relatively, well, not relatively, but poor. I grew up poor. But when I got to school, I was thankful because I had friends who. It did not matter how I grew up in my home. It didn't matter how much money we had or we didn't have. We were friends. There were some who had better clothes and better homes and better cars, but we were all friends. And I think that there are some things that when you come together, it just doesn't matter. You become friends not because of what people have, but because of how they are in their heart, how they behave, right?
Right.
All right. So we may talk about that a little more, but they always enjoy seeing you all. So please continue to give them a thumbs up, you all. One of the things that we talked about was that Mother's Day is coming up soon. And we tend to have a lot of ladies in the audience. In the audience. So please say Happy Mother's Day to all of them. SJ, you can go first and say however you want to say it. You can say
Happy Mother's Day to you all.
And you?
Happy Mother's Day to all you women and grandmas.
Oh yeah. So speaking of which, we talked about the fact that we have some things in common, and one of the things that we have in common, we can talk about that later. So, we'll talk about that a little later. But one of the things that we just before we came on air, we were saying that we have in common is that Mother's Day is coming up, but we no longer have our grandmothers with us in this life, right?
No, we don't.
But we have wonderful memories of grandmothers. So as life goes on, we will always honor them and remember them even on Mother's Day, right? But here's your chance to do a shout out to say Happy Mother's Day to your mother. So I'll let you go first. Yeah, so you can go first. So your mother is what I see she's watching. So you can say Happy Mother's Day to your mother. Go ahead.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day, T. Cutler.
And Happy Mother's Day to my mom as well. But Happy Mother's Day to all of you all. What else do we have in common? So we don't have grandmothers on earth, but we always have them in our hearts, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what else do we have in common? Just so that they know that we really are Cutlers. Well, that's one thing we have. We have the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let me see.
Well, I mean, that would be different.
Well,
We don't have our uncle anymore. A lot of our uncles, actually.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because some of our uncles,
Uncle Jack.
Yes.
we still have Uncle Jack. Yeah, but we.
I mean, not Uncle Jack. Uncle
But
Donald.
Uncle Donald is the one that we recently lost.
That was
Yeah, so June is coming, and that'll make 1 year. Wow! But here's something we want to talk about, and this will be our broadcast topic for tonight because we're going to talk about how to adjust to change. When surroundings are new and environments are new, how to adjust to it. So I want a real candid conversation with Stephen and Sloan about how do we adjust to change. And for them, it means, are you, I don't think you're old enough to remember, but are you old enough to remember the house that you all used to live in before
Yes.
moving here?
Yes.
So, and you were in a different school, right? Do you remember being in that school?
Honestly, no, I really don't.
Okay, well, hang on. So here's a change that we could talk about. Last year, you were in a different grade.
That was the second grade.
You were in second grade, and now you're a big third grader, right? How about that, you all? Oh, he's a big third grader now. But did you have different teachers?
Mhm.
So what was it like walking into school this year and having new teachers? How did you get used to that? Was it different? Was it hard to get used to? Was it easy to get used to? How did you adjust?
Actually, it was kind of easy to get used to because every year before the first day of school, we always meet our teachers in the classroom, and then she's and then she shows us what she mainly likes. My teacher, she likes lemons. So
She likes lemons.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so then that was one thing I knew about her. So then it was kind of easy for me to get used to it.
Oh, so that was one thing that you knew about. So you had an idea. You knew the change was coming. You familiarized yourself with it. You talked about it. What about you? You are getting ready to go to a completely different school.
I came from a completely different school as well.
Okay, yeah. So last year to this year, different schools?
Yes. See, last year I went to a school named Fuquay,
That's right, you sure
and
did.
this year I go to a school named Herbert Akins.
Okay, so how did you adjust to this new school? How was it for you?
It was okay at first because I was missing my friends, but at the same time I was walking in with my friends, and some of my friends were already there, so I felt comfortable going there.
Okay.
And then after time going, I actually grew to love my school. I love my school actually.
Okay.
I actually cherish going to school every day. So
He didn't say he likes. He said he cherishes going to school every day. Meanwhile, look at Sloan. You don't cherish going to school every day, but it's okay. But you've adjusted and you get used to it.
also it's a better feel because I have 6 different teachers.
Okay.
So
yeah, 6 teachers.
Yeah, 6
How many
teachers
teachers do you have?
Yeah, my art, my music, my media teacher, my gym teacher, and my class teacher. About 7 or 6.
So let's say this. So just so that because we're chit chatting with them and they're listening for these 1800 seconds. So one of the things that I'm hearing you both say that when we have to get used to change and we get used to new environments, one of the things that we should not do, we should not expect things to stay the same, right? So that's the word stability. Stability means it's stable, it's the same, it's not changing. But life changes. So as you all are growing up, one of the things that I'm hearing you all say to them and we're saying is don't expect stability. Things change, schools change, teachers change, life changes, friend changes. So things change all the time. One day we may have people in our lives like grandmothers, and then the next day they may not be here physically, but they're in our heart. One day we could be living in this house, but the next week we may move to this house. One day this school. But the truth of the matter is that things change every day, right? So we need not we shouldn't expect stability. We should not expect things to change. And I think that goes along with what both of you were saying earlier, that when things change, it means things are different. It means things are different. For example, some of the things that we like today, we may not like them 5 years from now. Some of the things that we are used to now, we may not be accustomed to them 5 years from now. What else about change? It sounds like you all were saying, specifically you when you were saying you got a chance to meet the teacher and you learned that she liked lemons. You learned that she liked lemons, and in terms of you knew that you were going to have to go to a new school, and so you accepted the change. And so that really says that you really didn't fight to hold on what was in the past. You think sometimes people just they want things to stay the same, don't they?
Well,
Yeah.
I wanted my grandmother to not be sick, so I really wanted that to be the same. But at the same time,
That's good.
I was honestly being selfish because if you think about it, I wanted her to live, but at the same time, she was going through all that pain.
Yeah.
So it'd be just better for her to go on instead of stay back and be going through all that and going through those certain treatments and all that stuff. So.
Oh, that is excellent. That is excellent.
And I had to deal with that change hard.
Yeah, and of course, so both of you remember what, and they called my aunt Ganny. They take out the R out of Granny, just call it Ganny. But because we all remember what it was like for her, and we just remember when of course, remember when she was doing well, but remember when she was sick, and we didn't. And sometimes people want things to stay the same. But you're right, we didn't want that to stay the same. We wouldn't want her to stay the same in that condition. So. Sometimes it breaks our heart, but we have to accept change, right?
Right.
We have to accept change. So I like that. You all aren't they some of the brightest guys that you've ever encountered? I hadn't even thought about that, but thank you for that one. Thank you for that one. And I think one of the things that we should not be afraid of is doing different things. So tell me. What sports, and I'll come back to you, what sports do you play?
I mostly play lacrosse and basketball.
Lacrosse. So do you remember the very first time you played lacrosse? Was it scary? Was it different? How was it?
Actually, it was not really scary for me because before I ever started my first team, because Steven has been playing, so then one day I picked up one of his sticks, and then once I started to get used to it, I told my mom I wanted to play lacrosse, so then she let me play on the same team as my brother, but it was different age group. Okay. So I was in one age group, he was in the other. So at that time, he was probably in 4th or 5th grade, and I was in first. So then I had to get used to being in a different group because I won't always be with my brother. Like when I was in 2nd and first grade,
Mm-hmm.
he was in school with me. But when I moved to second, he wasn't in school with me because he moved on to sixth grade.
Gotcha. So what I'm hearing Sloan say, you all, when it comes to change, is sometimes you just need to make slow adjustments. And so he said what he did, he made the adjustment. He remembers the first time he picked up the stick, but he made the adjustment because he watched his brother do it. I think that's a great example. Sometimes if you want to know how to handle change, watch how somebody else has handled it. Watch how somebody else has done it. We both have the benefit, you and I, of having older brothers. You have to be the oldest in terms of the two of you all. But one of the things that we can always do, and I think that helps everybody, just watch someone else who has made the change. Watch someone else who has done what you're trying to do. And when they model it for you, you can just walk in their steps. But then you also said you did what he did. So sometimes we can practice change. We can practice the steps and make sure that we are getting used to it. What else for you? I call him SJ for Stephen Jr. So it's Stephen Jr. So but SJ, in terms of tell me what sports you play again.
Lacrosse, basketball, football, and track.
Football. So tell me the very first. Oh, okay. So recently. So here's a change. So right now you cannot actively play sports, right?
Right.
Because he had an injury, something that he and I had in common. He broke his collarbone. I broke my collarbone. So he's still healing now. So when you realize that you could not participate in sports, that was a change for you.
It was a really big change. I couldn't even go outside.
So how did you make that adjustment?
I kind of just had to sit down and
You
just
okay.
kind of deal with it, I guess.
Okay.
But at the same time, like Sloan said, lacrosse is not a sport of minority. So there's really not any colored on the team.
Well, African Americans.
Yeah, African American.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to make a change because going from a football team with all black people,
Mm-hmm.
a few white people,
Mm-hmm.
and then going to a lacrosse team with all white people is
Mm-hmm.
different. You have to
Mm-hmm.
learn the way they do things, the way they talk. You can't use your talk you can't talk to me you don't talk to me the way you talk to your coworkers. Like you talk to them an entirely different way.
Okay.
So I had to adapt to that change and also just
He said adapt to the change. Okay, all right.
and also learning how to play with them, because you can't just go. I can't just expect you to go out there and we can be on the same team, but it doesn't mean anything. Like I was on a tournament one time for this national team,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never played with these kids before, and we lost every game because we never played with each other before. We don't know each other's skill, what we're best at, so we just have to adapt to changes like that.
Well, I like the fact that you mentioned different colors. So I noticed, bless his heart, he struggled with that. Which word do I use here? Because we talk about people of color, different colors, but it makes sense. So when we talk about cultures and races and ethnicities, we do have to embrace change and realize that people aren't the same, because all of your friends don't look like you, do they?
No.
Yeah. So all of their friends don't necessarily look like them. So let's see. That's very interesting. But in terms of your change, SJ, not being able to get back on the sports or involved in sports for now, you said you just had to sit out. Sometimes when it comes to change, you all, one of the things, and I'm just pulling pieces of advice from Stephen and Sloan. One of the things that I'm really hearing you say after that was, you said you just had to do it. Sometimes change comes and you just have to embrace it. You just have to do it, because some changes there isn't anything that we can do about, right?
No.
You just, for example, if a game gets canceled because it's rained out, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to accept it. You may not like it, but you just have to accept it. There's nothing you can do with it. So even as adults, as grown-ups, there's some things that happen in life. I can't change it. I can't accept it. I mean, I can't do anything about it. I can't change what has happened, and I just have to accept it. But here's one thing, and I always like to give inspirational, motivational, good news to people. One of the things I want to remind people is that change, even if it's bringing something that looks bad, it has a way most times of working out for your good. For example, new people, new friends in your life, new schools, new sports, all of these things, they have a way of enhancing your life and making your life better. I think all these situations that you all talked about and that we've shared this evening, they have made life better. Where you think, all right, well, cousin, how did losing grandmothers on earth make life better? Well, that made life sad, but one of the things that it gave us was a wonderful memory. It made us think about them more, because sometimes I think when we have people with us, we can sometimes take people for granted. Don't you think so?
Right.
Yeah, we can sometimes take people for granted, but when they're no longer here with us in person, it means that we really think about them more. We really express and we remember how much we love them even more. But not only that, when it comes to negative situations, not only is it that things are going to work out for us, bad things don't last always. Bad things don't last always. Your collarbone will heal, and that pain won't last always.
Joy will come in the morning.
Joy, do you hear this? He said joy will come in the morning. Well, listen, his grandfather's the chairperson of the deacon board, and his great grandfather was the chairperson of the deacon board, and his cousins are preaching all that kind of stuff. But joy does come in the morning. Have you ever had situations and you told your parents about them and they look like bad situations, but then later on they ended up they were okay, they were good situations? Can you think of any?
Yeah, this is kinda and kinda not. So one time, I was in my grandma's neighborhood, and then my brother had ran over me with the bike. So he had.
Let me hear it.
So he had tore through my first layer of skin. So then it was kind of hard for me to walk. So then
Do you remember this?
Yes.
Okay.
So then I had to walk to my grandma's house, and then my grandma's husband had to put on some peroxide.
Okay.
And it hurt super bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next morning it kind of felt better, and then in the middle of the day I just kept picking at it, and then I just let my scab just be there, and then I just kept picking at it. So then finally, until it went away, I could stop picking at it, and it felt better.
I like that. See, this is one of the reasons I love unscripted conversations with them, because when they talk, I can always pull lessons out. And life is like that. Sometimes we get hurt. And when we get hurt, we do the best we can to make sure that the situation doesn't hurt so much. It may be uncomfortable, but we take care of it. We do what we can. And then eventually it gets better. It gets okay. So after Stephen injured you, we'll remind your parents about that. But after you injured your brother, he was able to, it was peroxide that was put on it, right? So peroxide was put on it, and then it developed a scab. Would you all believe that life is like that? Sometimes we get hurt. We get hurt in life. We encounter situations that will hurt us. But although it hurts and it can be uncomfortable, after a while, we get through it. So one of the things that I want to share with the two of you is that whatever situations that happens that you don't necessarily like, it will get better. You just kind of get through it. You do what you can to fix it. But then one of the things that we also have in common is that we pray about everything, right? Mm-hmm. We pray about everything. So we trust that there's a higher source. We believe that God is just going to make everything work out for us. And however it turns out, we're just going to thank him, and we accept his will. But life is like that. Life is like that when things come, even in school. So for the two of them, even in school, when they have challenging situations, when they have new homework, when they have new subjects, when they have new materials, sometimes it could be difficult, sometimes it could be challenging, sometimes it could be hard. But one of the things that their parents and those of us who are part of their community always tell them, you have to do what you can, you study hard, you do what you can, you pray about it, but do your part. And after you do your part, it gets better. And so that's what I would say to our friends who are joining us this evening. Things will get better in terms of adjusting to change. Sometimes you said you just got to sit out. You just got to sit through it. You just got to deal with it. You have to embrace it to the point that you can learn what's coming your way. Learn that the teacher likes lemonades. And so learn what helps you to get through a situation. I think that's the lesson that I'm hearing from Sloan. Find out what it takes to get through a situation. Hey, what is going on? What is this change about? And is it going to make me afraid? So we only have, I think, like 1 minute left, and we've been talking about how to adjust to change. I think we're telling people change is going to happen
Mhm.
at every age. So even at your age, which is
8.
at your age, which is
13.
so when you're 9 and when you're 14, things won't be the same as they were when you were 8 and you're 13. Things are always changing, because I remember when I was 8, when I was 13, that was a long time ago. We don't have to tell how old I am, okay? But but and they know how old I am, so we just pick we pick about it all the time. But
Fortunately,
say what?
Can I just shout it out?
Yes, you can shout out how old I am.
58.
He knows because I was 50 when he was born. So that's how he remembers.
also have one like change.
What's that?
When my grandmother passed away,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know if y'all know this, but her favorite color was purple, and her favorite flower was a purple rose. So what I would do is I would like to cope with it pretty much. I would draw her initials on everything, color everything purple,
Yeah.
just to cope through with it. Even cry sometimes, because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
You know?
I have one too.
Go ahead.
I kind of got a little bit angry, and I kind of did something bad, but my mom already know.
Okay.
The broadcast doesn't know, so
Yeah. So I had got angry. So then Ashley had this on his helmet. So then I had did it on a piece of paper,
Oh,
and it was in purple.
oh
then
no,
it's
no,
like-
don't show him.
okay.
Don't show him.
So it says F * K Cancer,
Yes.
but I kind of took it a little bit too far.
Well, but we understood, and so one of the things that I appreciate about what you're both saying is that, and again, you all, this is unscripted. Clearly, you can see as Mother's Day is coming up, they remember their grandmother in an amazing way. They remember her in an amazing way, and so I think. And I'm going to have you all back, because they're talking about adjusting to change, but specifically, I think that you all are talking about adjusting to change from a real way. So for yours, it was about crying through it sometimes, and even dealing with your anger through it. One of the things I love about, and you all are going to help me close out, one of the things I love about what they're saying is that we have to be true to our emotions. So whenever we're dealing with change, we have to talk about what we are experiencing, what we are feeling. So you got a chance to express yourself. You cried about it. I mean, even you're getting older, but you still like, no, that's my grandmother. I can cry if I want to.
Right.
In your case, you've shared that she passed because of complications due to cancer, and you expressed how angry you were about that. And so both of you, what you all are saying is helpful to them, because it reminds them that, hey, when you're dealing with things, be true to how you feel about it. And it's okay to express yourself in a healthy way. You were able to write it down. You were able to cry it out. And so I think it says to all of us, it's okay to express yourself. It's okay to talk to people about what you're going through. These are ways to adjust to change. Now, they had no idea that you all were going to be on with me. They had no idea that they were going to get these, what I call snippets from the two of you all. But thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Sloan, for sharing these 1,800 seconds with me and with them. So what I want to ask them is to do what we always do, and you all hear me say this. One of the things that we do, we build community where we talk to each other. So we build community, we maintain connectivity, we stay in touch with each other. And I always say to them at the end of the broadcast to keep their heads up, to keep their chins up. Don't look down. You don't have to be sad, but also to keep their hopes up. And I share that with you guys as well. Always expect great things. Expect great things out of yourselves. Expect great things out of each other. And I'll say to you all in front of them, I expect great things out of you, out of the two of you. I'm so proud of you. And as we go off, let's tell them once again, let's say good night and happy Mother's Day.
Good night.
Good night
and happy Mother's Day. Subscribe and share.
Oh, so you tell them, come on, let's talk the color.
Come on, let's talk to color.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, guys. Let's see. And we're going to click the end here. And I'll let you know when we're off.